Hello and welcome back to another Tuesday episode of World Traveler Cooking. Today we're going to make Roggenmischbrot. This is German mixed rye-wheat bread. This is sort of, a great rich German bread. I don't quite have the right ingredients, so I'm substituting a few things out. I'll let you know what they are and what you should use instead. But yeah, this is a delightful bread, and I think even with these substitutions, this will come out great. The first thing we need is the sourdough starter we made last week. The second thing is we need some warm water, 345 grams, of warm water. I have 18 grams of salt, a little less than a gram of yeast, 250 grams of rye flour, and ideally you should use a whole grain rye meal. I'm using a dark rye flour instead, so I expect this to come out much softer, but perhaps a little less rich on the flavor. And then I have, you should use a first clear flour that is in German terms a 1050 flour. I don't have that, so I'm using a strong bread flour that'd be like a German 550 flour. Result is that this probably won't come out as dark, and it will probably may not have quite as much flavor, but that'll probably be okay. It should still be a pretty solid bread. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix all of these ingredients together in my stand mixer until I have a really nice smooth dough. So into the handy stand mixer, I'm just going to add a few spoonfuls of flour first. And the major reason here is I want just a little more thermal mass because my water is just a little warm. So then I'm just going to go ahead and turn it on a little bit. Pour in some of the water, not all of it. Pour in more of the water. And then from here, I'm just going to turn this off for a second. And I'm just going to add all the rest of the ingredients. You can, of course, knead this by hand, but it's a lot easier with a stand mixer. Now, we currently have what looks like a smooth dough, but I think this is still a little loose, so I'm going to add just a bit more wheat flour. So this is what it looks like out of the mixer. We'll just let it sit for 3.5 hours. You can try to knead it in the meantime, but this dough is really sticky, so it probably won't work that well. I'm probably going to make these into sandwich loaves, by the way. So now some gluten's formed, and this is doubling in size, so I'm going to start the proofing stage. I'm going to divide this into 2 loaves, and I'm going to put them out and around, and let them continue to go for another half an hour or so. Now this part is not very graceful because, unlike a wheat bread, this dough is super sticky and almost like a super thick batter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get kind of a big ball into the middle of my parchment. And I'm going to take my spatula, I'm going to coat it in water, I'm going to shape the loaf. And then we're going to, again, let this sit for like half an hour, and then I'll start baking it. Okay, so we're going to score this bread, so I'm going to make my knife completely wet, and then I'm just going to cut it like that. And now I'm just going to put this on top and put it in for 20 minutes covered, 20 minutes uncovered. So this is after it has been in the oven for 20 minutes. So now I'm going to set this in with the other one also in the oven so that we can get them going together. And I'll be back in about another 20 minutes or so. These are what the two loaves look like after they're out of the oven. They look really nice. We're going to let them sit for an hour before we come back to try them. So now this has been out for a bit over an hour. I'm just going to take the smaller loaf and I'm going to cut off the crust. So the crust is really good here. And I'm just going to put a bit on a plate with some butter so that I can go ahead and do a taste test. But look at that inside. That looks really, really good to me. I think this is looking very similar to many of the breads I've had in Germany. And now for the taste test. This is delicious. It's not overly sour. There's definitely a bit of acidity to it. I'd probably cut down on the salt a little bit next time, but otherwise it's really, really good. In Germany, sometimes they use something called Brotgewürz in this, which means bread spices. And that's equal parts anise, caraway, fennel, and coriander. I'll put a note in that in the description. I decided not to use that this time. It might have been better just a little bit to have that, but this is still really, really tasty as it is. The bread is chewy, it's flavorful, has a depth of flavor that you've come to expect with the really good rye breads. I really, really like this. Now, if you find this content interesting, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. It helps this channel grow, and it's free to do. It'll also help make sure that you get more information from videos like this in the future when I do them. If you make a dish like this a little differently than I do, please feel free to let me know how you do it differently in the comments below. I would love to hear those sorts of things. At any rate, recipes in the description. Bon appetit, and see you next week.